The innocence in us as children is as kind-hearted and unintentional as we could only imagine. Until we awake someday, meeting a point in our lives of no return. Contemplation and acknowledgement of ourselves and our existence is only the beginning. Spanning between the ages of 18 and 26, young adulthood is a transitional period of human development when people are traditionally expected to gain self-sufficiency and become more responsible for themselves and their lives. It is at this time that financial independence, relationships, career, and educational aspects are prime in the development of a productive and engaged citizen.
Young adulthood is really, really crucial to me, honestly, because it's when you figure yourself out. You take what you learned in your teens and your early years, and you take in information that you heard from your elders or people you look up to, advisors, and it's you're trying to put that into fruition into your life. And so it's all about development.
Alana is a student videographer and editor working on pursuing a degree. She mentions how social media can sometimes get in the way of personal success.
I definitely feel like there is some type of standard you have to live up to now, especially with social media. Everybody's throwing their lifestyle in your face. There's lifestyle videos every single day. You can't go on the internet without seeing a lifestyle video. You might think it's not a lifestyle, but it is. You've seen celebrities doing it, and then it's okay, now I gotta keep up. Now I wanna keep up. Now I feel like I gotta flex this, or oh, now I gotta do this to make sure I'm on top of this. This sound is trending right now. I have to post to this before the trend is over, and then I'm left in the dust, and nobody cares about my content anymore. And social media is now a business. It just gets to the point where it starts being comparison, and sometimes I have to sit back and just delete social media for a time, because the comparison, it just gets too real. It gets too real at sometimes, and yeah, it kind of throws off my day.
When I was younger, I was not eager to grow up. I kind of always liked to take things very slowly, just because of how things were back then. It wasn't as fast-paced as it is now, with social media and different technology. So growing up, there was a standard, and that standard was pretty much the same it is today, which is status. So you always wanted to have a certain status growing up. So where it comes to social media, you always wanted to portray yourself in a certain type of manner. So I would say status is definitely something that was big when I was growing up, definitely.
Torian followed his passion in photography, modeling, and became a brand ambassador. He'd shoot photos and videos for Instagram with his friends, doing influencer work before it was widely known.
When I was in high school, I had the ability to develop a clothing line. It was called Splash. And it was just a basic gilded shirt with impact font that said Splash on it. It was a great experience for me. When I was young, I really didn't put too much of the business side aspect to it. But when I started to turn about 18, 19 and started to get a little bit older, it started to become a little bit more serious. But it was just too much to take in at the time to be able to keep up with, because I started to learn more and I started to care a lot more. So when you're younger, you have the ability to not care as much, but as you grow older, you start to care, and that can start a little bit more confliction at times.
Mental health, it's gotten more awareness than it usually had back in the day. Like, people would ignore mental health, but now, like, my generation, you're not ignoring it.
I think with mental health, as far as when I was growing up, a lot of times you really couldn't express yourself just because you had to have like a certain image, and when you do express yourself, you're looked at as being soft, or you're kind of labeled as weak. So a lot of times you just kind of had to bottle everything up.
Once again, being on social media, you lose your image. Like, for me, I'm going to say for me, I don't know for everybody else, but for me, I started to lose my image completely. Like, I didn't know if I was following a trend or if I actually liked that, so it took me a while to relearn myself.
In high school, you're doing a lot of self-development and finding yourself and trying to find your niche. But when you go to college, you're kind of super hyper-focused on a certain thing that you want to do. I think for me, I was just very immature at times, knowing what I wanted to do, but not having the patience to actually sit and understand why I wanted to do it, opposed to now with college, more importantly, you're paying for college. So I do believe that when you have that element and you're a little bit more mature, you start to actually really take it a little bit more seriously. College is a little bit more self-motivated. You have a lot more independency. When you're in high school, you have like your parents to kind of push you into the direction that they feel like you should go in, but you don't really know where you want to go. Opposed to college, you're just like super hyper focused on that.
I was excited to grow up in the sense that, oh yeah, like, I'll have more freedom, because my mom, like, my parents, they were strict. They were really strict, and now, like, as I got older, I realized it was just to, like, protect me. Like, it was really nothing worth being outside for.
I know now with the new generation, because I'm a part of the millennial group, with the Gen Zs, it's a little bit different because you're able to actually say, hey, I'm not okay, and you're able to express that. If I was to put something like that on social media or just tell a friend that, they would be like, oh man, you're tripping. But nowadays it's the new norm, which I'm a little jealous about, but at the same time though, I've been able to adapt and learn more from the younger generation, and it's been a great experience.
Being around like my older cousins, it just seemed like they just had the life. And I remember like they would always just go out, like club culture, it was always something. Like, I was the younger cousin in the room, like judging the outfits. Oh wait, no, you should put that on, you should put that on. And like, I just loved their fashion sense. I'm like, ooh, yes, when I get older, I'm gonna be able to wear this, I'm gonna be able to wear that.
But you didn't have the word influencer. So a lot of times you kind of just had to be creative in a way to just figure out how to be different. So like, you didn't really have reference points. I know a lot of times now you have a reference to kind of go off of, whether it's TikTok or Instagram with Reels now. We had platforms like YouTube and Vine. Those were really huge. You had to kind of figure out your own way within those apps. For me, I utilize social media to grow, to know more people, to be able to socialize. Like if I was to go to an event, then I would just get different people Instagrams and then DM them so then that we can connect. And in that way we can, be able to just know more people.
Especially in the younger generation, people my age, I see people my ages, they're millionaires, they have their own businesses, they investing in stocks and this, that, and the third. And then like, it got to a point and I'm like, am I not being an adult right? Am I not doing what I'm supposed to do? Like, am I supposed to be at their level?
So milestones would be turning 21. By the time you turn 21, you kind of really start to figure out where you are in life, whether it's relationship-based or friendship-based. A lot of times when you grow up, especially 17, 18, 19, 20, somewhere in there, you kind of start to drift away from the people that you were close with at the time. When you become 21 is the pivotal age of where you actually feel like an adult. And for me, that was the milestone, turning that age and just being able to do whatever you want to do, rather it's getting a car or an apartment or whatever.
Just taking the time, like, okay, what are my habits? What do I like? What can I tolerate? What is my capacity? That is really, really important. Because what you can take, other people cannot take. And just because you would do something a certain way, other people won't do it that way. You have to learn that. I learned the hard way, because especially like with other people, I'm like, why didn't you just do this? And I would find myself snapping at people because it's like, why wouldn't you just do it like this? Because I would have did it like this. And it's like, we're two different people, two different capacities, two different levels. It's okay. Not everything is going to go your way.
How I feel that social media is a little bit different from when I was growing up to now is that we spent a lot of time with real life, in-person interactions, opposed to now where you can feel like you're connected with somebody just by seeing them on social media. So I really do think that we should go back to some of the real life, in-person connections. It really helps develop the socializing skills and being able to, meet new people, and then that person may know somebody else, and that person knows somebody else that knows somebody else. It's really a domino effect, opposed to now where you just really don't have that as much, which I kind of agree with, but I don't agree with. But I think that we should go back to that.
Business. It's a business now. Like, there's so many businesses on social media, and like the attention span is really crazy now. Because even on Snapchat was just somewhere you were just supposed to take pictures, upload, and go about your day. Now there's like almost like TikToks on Snapchat now, and like you can like get Snapchat Premium and all that. And I was just so confused when I logged back onto that app, and I was like, huh?
Having different friendships and connections with your family is very important. I spent a lot of time with my friend Brennan, and we would just link up in the middle of the day just to go out and do photography. And just being able to just be free and be young, I think is just an awesome feeling. If I can go back, I would. But when it comes to family, just that similar thing.
You really have to be your own self-motivator, and that's the hardest part. Because there's going to be days when you don't want to do it and you still have to show up. Like, you have to show up.
Having, a close friend, also being able to be with my brothers and also my uncle at the time, it was just a great experience. Just being around like-minded individuals like myself, especially of the same race, is just very important in your young adulthood.
Humanity in its entirety thrives within the many cultures, trends, relationships, and compassion we share with one another. How we alter in our lifespan development lies on nature, nurture, and the decisions we make and the validity of our own reasonings. I'm a young adult. I have more and more responsibilities every day. And this show being one.
I'm student producer Sade Moore-Beeman, and thank you for watching Reasons for Us on Student Operations Day 2024.